am Danae and I am the author of Life in Katie's Shoes. Fun fact though, real quick, about the cover of Life in Katie's Shoes. You can see here the swing set and of course the back. This is actually my childhood playground growing up, across the street from my mom's house. It was a rental, and this is the swing set that my brother and I played on quite a bit growing up. So it was really fun to incorporate this picture onto the cover of Life in Katie's Shoes. Not many people know that, but now people do know that since I just said it. So I wanted to take a minute to just read part of Life in Katie's Shoes, a chapter, and kind of give you a sneak peek and hopefully pique your interest of Life in Katie's Shoes. So this chapter is called Danae Was Here. Today was the day. Mommy gave us our packed lunches and we went outside to ride our bikes. She took our picture before we all rode off. "Have a good day," she yelled as we turned the corner. We all rode really fast. We were all excited but nervous. We went to the open house of a couple of nights ago to look at our classrooms. We got to the bike rack and locked up our bikes. I tried to hold Danny's hand, but he would not let me. We stopped in the entrance area and said goodbye to each other. We promised each other that we would sit together at lunch. I walked towards my classroom. The school was much bigger than my last one. I took a breath and walked into 3rd grade. Everyone stared at me. My teacher, Mr. Cost, came over and helped me remember where my desk was. The day was about getting to know each other. There was this one boy who would smile at me and not stop. Ew. It was finally lunchtime. I needed to see my brothers. I got to the cafeteria and saw them leaving. "Danny!" I yelled. He looked up at me and dumped his tray into the trash. He went out the other door across the cafeteria. Who was I going to sit with? I went through the line, trying not to cry. I was so worried that I would have to sit alone. Once I got to the end of the line, I saw a girl that I met at orientation. We were not in the same class, but I think she was nice to me then. I walked up to her table. "May I sit with you?" She looked up and asked, "Are you cool enough?" "I think so." She took her backpack and put it in the empty chair. "This seat is taken." I looked down at the floor and walked off. "You can sit with us if you want." I looked up and saw 2 girls and a boy sitting at a corner table. "Really?" I asked. "Yes, we want you to sit with us. We like your braids." I smiled and sat down. "I am Katie. What are your names?" "I am Taryn and this is Chloe, and that is Hank. Nice to meet everyone." "You are new here, right?" Yeah, I moved to this town this summer." "That is cool. I've lived here my whole life." I smiled inside because she said it was cool. After we were done with lunch, we all went back to class. It turns out that all 3 of them were in my class. I did not notice because I was too nervous earlier. Class was dismissed and we all got to leave school. My brothers waited at the bike rack for me. "Why did you guys eat early?" I asked. "I guess the school has 2 lunch periods," Danny said. We all got on our bikes and rode home. When we got home, there was a car in front of our house that we did not know. We walked inside and saw a lady and a clipboard sitting on the couch next to Mommy. "Kids, this is Mary. She is here to get to know you 3. "Hi, Mary," we all said. "Danny, may I talk to you first?" Danny shook his head yes. Mommy made me and Drayton leave. She also went into a room and shut the door. Danny came and got Drayton next. Danny looked confused. About 15 minutes later, I was next. I knew how many minutes passed because I was watching. I walked into the living room and sat down. "Hi, Katie. How are you today?" Tired. I heard it was your first day of school today. How was that?" Scary." "Why was it scary?" "Ma'am, who exactly are you?" I asked. "My name is Mary and I am here to get to know your family. Did we win something?" She laughed. "No, I am a social worker. I get to know families that are in a transition period of their lives." "Okay, ask your questions." "I would like to ask about your dad, Henry." "What about him?" I said. "Well, how does he act around you?" "He acts like a dad would." I was not understanding exactly why she needed all of this information. "Does your daddy drink?" "What are you getting at, Mary? Don't all adults drink? Do you drink, Mary? Does your dad drink?" "Quit asking me personal questions about my family. You have not been here and you know nothing." I stood up to leave the room, and that is when my mother walked into the room. "What are you trying to do here, Lily?" I asked. I have had a very stressful first day of school, and you bring this broad into our house to stick her nose into our business. What the hell are you thinking? Her eyes squinted at me. Go to your room, Caitlin. I was not scared. You going to spank me in front of the social worker, Mom? You are not my mommy anymore. You hurt my feelings and you hurt my brother's feelings. Dad hurt my feelings and he hurt my brother's feelings. All of the adults in our lives are screwed up. All our lives have completely changed, and now you are only going to say, go to your room? She repeated herself, go to your room. I started to walk to my room. I am sorry, from you or Dad would be nice. I slammed the door behind me. Once I got into my room, I expected Mom to come in and show me who was in charge. She did not. I've never called her Lily before. She must be really mad at me. I crawled into my bed and pulled the covers up to my nose. I laid there waiting for the doorknob to turn. It still didn't. I watched my room turn from sunshine-filled to watching it get darker and darker. My nightlight turned itself on. I was hungry. I walked out and it was quiet. I peeked my head around the corner of the kitchen to see no one in there. I quickly ran to the pantry and pulled a bag of chips down. Chips were not supposed to leave the kitchen, but this was a special circumstance. I ran back to my room. She was sitting on my bed. I hid the chips behind my back. Hi, I mumbled while looking at my feet. Katie, I am not mad at you. I am disappointed in you. I am not disappointed by what you said. I am upset that you took your feelings out on someone who was here to help you. But Mom, she was asking me personal questions about Dad. What was I supposed to do? Answer them? That is private and embarrassing. I shifted the chip bag into my other hand. She was here to help. Enough with that topic. Anyway, how was your first day of school? She asked. I was nervous. Then I did not get to sit with my brothers. I tried to sit with a group of people, but I was not cool enough. When I was walking around, a group of kids asked me if I wanted to sit with them. I do not think they were cool though, but they thought I was. Mom held out her arms for me to give her a hug. I was busted. I dropped the chips and gave her a hug. You know, for what it's worth, I think you are an intelligent, loving, kind little girl with a big heart. Mom smiled at me. I followed her into the kitchen. My brothers were making themselves PB&Js. You want one, Katie? Danny asked. Yes, please. I got a paper towel and sat down on the floor with it. I had the bag of chips next to me. As I sat there and ate, I looked around our kitchen. There were bumps in our floor and some wallpaper missing on the walls. Our cabinets were painted and the appliances were not the same colors. I remember our old house. The kitchen was much nicer. I stood up and went to the bathroom for my shower. I cried. This was the first time I cried in the shower. I felt so many emotions today. Is this what getting older was like? Mom could not hear me because the water was running. The shower would be my safe place for crying. I got out and toweled off. I wiped the steam off of the mirror to see myself. I felt different, even though it was me in the mirror. A few weeks in my new school went by, and we still had not seen Dad. I gave up asking about him. That was until one day he showed up at one of our assemblies. Dad was skinnier, but he had a smile on his face. We all ran to Dad. Hey kids, he scooped us all up and gave us a tight hug. Mom was close behind us. Hello, Henry, she said. Lily, he nodded his head. We all went to sit down and watch Danny get his award. Danny was getting a Good Citizen award for picking up trash around the playground during recess. Once the assembly was over, they excused us for the rest of the day. Can we all get supper together? Drayton asked. Not tonight, Mom said. Lily, can I take them for supper and bring them back? Dad asked. Mom had her suspicious look on her face. We all knew that we would not get to go if we did not beg. So we begged. After we won, we climbed into Dad's truck. We went to the buffet place in town. Dad said that we could get pop with our meal tonight. I loaded my plate full of fried chicken, mashed potatoes, brown gravy, and corn. The corn went on top of my mashed potatoes. That is how my mom ate it. We got done with our food. I eyed the ice cream machine. We could choose vanilla, chocolate, or twist. I always got twist. Daddy gave us each a big hug when he dropped us off at Mom's house. We ran along the road and waved to him until he drove off fast. We all went inside and answered questions from Mom about how Dad had acted. Kids, did your dad seem normal? Yes, Mom. Did he say anything weird? She asked. No, Mom, we all said together. Can we relax now? Danae asked. She shook her head yes and went into the kitchen. Sibling meeting in Katie's room now. Danae walked to my room and shut the door after we were all inside. Siblings, I'm going to go live with Dad. Drayton and I looked at Danae, then looked at each other. But then we would not all live together, Drayton said. I began to tear up. Danae, was it something I did? I am sorry that I joke sometimes, and I'm sorry that I questioned your mechanic skills. Katie, it's not you. It was not either of you. I do not belong here. I miss my old school, where I do not get made fun of constantly. Does Mom know? Drayton asked. Yes, she knows. And she did not tell us? She cried when I told her, but she said that she wanted me happy. Well, when do you leave? I asked. This weekend. I got off my beanbag and hugged my biggest brother. Danny, don't go. I love you too much. Drayton joined us hugging. I need you here, big brother. We all started to cry. Danny left the room. Drayton looked at me. What are we going to do, Katie? We can't just let him leave. I will make his bed every day if you do his outside chores. Okay, you make his bed, I will mow, and I will sweep the living room. We both agreed. This had to work. For the next 3 days, we followed our plan. I was never so mad about seeing Dad's truck pull up. He was not stealing my brother. Or he was stealing my brother. He was being selfish. Drayton and I would not even go and say hi to Dad. We watched our brother load his things into the back of the truck and not even look back at us after they drove off. Mom cried the rest of the day. Drayton and I did not know what to do. Danny would have known. Danny was not here though. We decided to go to the nice house's garden down the block and pick some of the flowers in the garden. We pulled them quick and ran. We pulled some of the roots with the flowers and the dirt was getting onto our clothes. Drayton grabbed a vase and we pulled the roots away before we put the flowers in the water. We knocked on Mom's door and hid around the corner. We sat them on the floor in front of her door. We hoped she would see them. When she opened her door, she looked down and began to cry harder. She picked them up and shut her door again. We did not know what else to do. Drayton and I had another meeting about what we could do to make Mommy happy again. We then decided when we felt sad, our mom comforted us. So we called her Mom. When Grandma got to her house, she was carrying a bag of food with her. She handed it to us and said to go eat our lunch out back. She did not even knock at Mom's door. She just went in. I'm not sure what Grandma told Mom, but she finally came out of her room and started cleaning everything in the house. Grandma cooked us a good meal for supper and told us to get ready for bed. She also stayed the night and made sure that we went to bed on time. Drayton and I did not feel like splitting up at bedtime. He had a sleepover in my room. He told me that it was too quiet in his room now that Danny was gone. We read a book together. I let him borrow Dog. Drayton was really sad. I cuddled up against Drayton as he cried that night. I cried with him. Today just felt sad. After Drayton was asleep, I got out of bed. I could not fall asleep. I went to the boys' room. I sat on the edge of the bottom bunk. I wonder if Danny knew he was leaving when he was crying the night that I climbed up to see what the matter was. I looked across the dresser and stood up to walk over to it. I picked up a black permanent marker off of their dresser. I pulled back Danny's favorite poster that he did not take with him for some reason. I wrote, "Danny was here." I put the cap back on the marker and tacked the corner of the poster back to the wall. I sat the marker down where I found it, shut the light off, and closed the door. Danny was here, I whispered throughout the dark house. Thank you so much for listening to part of Life in Katie's Shoes. Again, I am Danae Decker, the author of Life in Katie's Shoes. This book can be found on my website as well, and I will pin that information below. Thank you so much.